Hi guys, Russ here, and this is part 2 of my entry to Adam Mann's German half-track group build. And this is the state of things currently as it stands. The entire model that you see is just sort of dry fitted and loose, except for the tracks and the chassis system, but the complete upper hull comes right off. But I just want to give a few words on what I've thought about this Trumpeter kit. And as I've been posting on the Google Plus site, this is a really well detailed model, very exciting, at the same time very complex and challenging, mostly in the fact that there is so much detail, and it's been a bit of a headache. Most pieces fit together pretty well. Sometimes they were just a bit confusing. I think perhaps Trumpeter could have maybe simplified things and made things a little bit more basic, like connecting the all the floorboard and the cab section right here leading to the engine. It's all sort of, you just throw it in there. There's no guide holes or guide pins for the glue-in process. You just sort of stick it in there and do the best you can. So that has been challenging. Couple tabs that they do provide on the what appears to be the firewall, I actually had to remove those because they were actually causing my port side of my wall right here just wouldn't fit. But after a little cutting and removing, it made it work. The other problem with the cab was, if you saw my earlier video, I had all the stick shifts that were in the transmission. And the instructions say to glue it in early. I was talking to one of our other fellows who is also building the same Trumpeter kit of a different variety. The stick shifts get in the way because you have to drop the floorboard in, and you're not going to really tell how that stick shift is going to be positioned until this is in. So actually I had to snap them off, and what I'm going to do is just glue them right into the floorboard and throw in a piece of styrene sheet on the underside, as there is plenty of clearance underneath. And other than that, it's been pretty good. The other criticism I have is the wheels, though very well detailed. I noticed that in the section where you put the wheels together, the male and female sockets, there's a lot of flash and sometimes some irregularities in the molding. So I'm not really too sure about how strong that bond is going to be. The way these German half-tracks, these wheels are woven, so you can't just put the wheels, glue them together, and then assemble it. You have to actually put each piece of wheel in and then line it up. The tracks, I'm pretty sure they're model casting tracks. They got the same kind of brown plastic, and they are workable, though I glued mine as you would any indie link, and in the end probably shouldn't have done that because things snap and break. It was a bit of a frustrating build. It's so much easier to work with a workable track system because you can just slap it on, tie off the knot, and you're done. So as it is, the entire track system is permanently stuck where it is, and so far it looks pretty darn good. But yeah, definitely, I think my caution was, I felt the way the track links come together, that if I use glue, somehow the glue, because I use Tamiya extra thin, the capillary action would have gotten into those pins and sealed them. But now looking back, it probably wouldn't have been that big of a deal. It would have been less of a headache than what I had to get this. Yeah, so let's start breaking it down a little bit, because I did add some features. I added the K98 rifles. They're a mixture of Tamiya, Dragon, and AFE Club rifles. I just carved out the bottoms of the stocks where they would insert into the rings. I'll touch it up a little bit of putty towards the end, but they worked. They went right in, had no problems. All I gotta do is the front rifles. I'm probably going to add some gas mask canisters hanging from their straps, along with canteens. Up here in the cargo bay section, I definitely want to load it up with some gear. Definitely see a lot of pictures of gas tanks, jerry cans, all lined up in that rear rack. So I definitely want to add those when that time approaches. Fully detailed engine, excellent. Been getting a lot of pictures. There's a couple of restoration projects in various parts of the world going on, and lots of detail and a lot of just really nice stuff to help me with color coordination. My other last criticism is that when it comes time to put in the front, get the front here, it goes in something like that, and then you got the hood top. I'm pretty sure somewhere there's going to be some filling. I don't know which side is going to be. I think I want to do the filling here. It's nice, and there's a nice groove down on the bottom. I can just stick it in nice and tight. But if I glue it here first to the firewall, it's very fragile. There's not much, there's almost no area to really secure it down. That'll be tough. So I'd rather just have this. I might just permanently stick this in, and probably will have some sort of seam there and fill it. Not a big deal. I have decided to leave the side vents open. I'll just not install them so that the viewers of the model can see the engine. I just feel this is a really nice engine, and it would just be buried with all the hood components. So definitely going to exploit this opportunity. Alright, let's break it apart. The engine is not in. Actually, nothing's in. We can just take it apart, take it down. But yeah, look at this engine. It's not fully built yet, but it's just really nice. Let's yeah, look at that. Many pieces. A little bit of filler was needed, but not bad at all. Really cool. And everything kind of just pops off. One thing I did do was the instructions wanted you to glue the front fenders right to the rear section. I actually decided not to do that. I glued it right to the frame of the Halftrack itself. So let's separate it so you can see. I'm not too sure how this is going to come off. The wheels are open. I haven't glued them yet. I'm still working with painting. Let's just... Alright, so here we go. So there it is. It was tricky. Right now it's flat with... I use a little bit of raw sienna oil paint for a basic base wash. You know, with Panzer Gray, it's always a funny thing, especially for me. I find it very challenging because there's so many shades of this color, and then you see artists' color plates and other modelers. You never really know which one is which. I mean, in the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. It's some sort of Panzer Gray, looks good. But the problem I want is for more artistic representation is contrasting colors, so I definitely didn't want to use any kind of black wash. That would just keep on making it very murky. So I used a raw sienna, something I've never done before, and I kind of like the contrast that it provided. It's subtle, so definitely will be adding some more weathering type products later. The tracks are painted in Model Master Burnt Umber. I just love that color. It's a really nice base for starting with tracks. And I think what I'll do as well is use the raw sienna as a base wash and then move up to some other contrasting colors, maybe some pigments. I've been purchasing a lot of weathering products over the winter, so I definitely want to start using more products of the pigments and such. One of the problems was with this kind of build, it's all sub-assembly. You got the lower system, you got the upper system, and you got to kind of paint everything in advance. So that's why I wanted to get all the chassis stuff basically done. So let's see if we can pick it up without dropping it and get a closer look at what's going on. Yeah, and like I said in my earlier video, I didn't bother with the cable for the tow hook. Just left that there, and you can see I just snapped off those gear shifts. Not a big deal. There's a gas tank that's supposed to go on top. I completely forgot about it. The way the model sits when you put the upper piece on, you're never going to see it. So I'll probably just build it and throw it in. And here's the, let's see if we can get a closer look at the wheels a little bit. And you can basically just get a little look at that raw sienna. It's very subtle. It doesn't overwhelm the Panzer Gray at all, but it gives you something to work with in the beginning. Not bad. And then we'll flip it underneath this side. And there's really nothing. I didn't really do any weathering here. I'll probably just throw in something. Might be a few ejection pin marks. I got kind of lazy. I got a lot of works in progress, and definitely learning that I'm not a multitask builder. I thought I was, I'm really not. I'm really going to focus on 1 or 2 models, and that's that. And the front, and we got all the front system, tie rods and all. But yeah, so far not a bad kit. So we'll put this down. Let's take a look at the upper piece. And so again, I just started in advance and I painted the bottom, so that's ready to go. Which is really cool is in here there's a cage for the spare wheel, which is interesting because when I was starting this model, I was like, how did they get the spare tire out? Because it's so, you can't crawl underneath it. But what I realized was there's a door right here, so they would open, and they would pull out the spare tire. You gotta imagine, like, oh, this is filled up with ammunition and tools and things. Very neat. Let's get a close look at those the cruise rifles. Yeah, so we got the tan ones are Tamiya, that green one's the AFV Club, and then there's the Dragon. And then there's another set of rifles. You can see the little brackets on the bottom, little circles. And we got some tools. I left one open right here because of, you can see there's a little axe, some pioneering tools. So I just want to be able to see those. And I'll be hanging some things from those racks. Yeah, mostly not too bad with the filler. I don't know if you can see right here where the drivers, it's very subtly gray, but definitely I had to put filler all here. That was a huge gap. But it looks pretty good. I may fill along, and you can see the shadow where my finger is. And I may fill that. I just don't like it. I'm not a big fan of just big open cracks. And that just seems a little too much. And you can definitely see some the gaps, you know, like right there. I have to fill that in. But so far so good. It has been pretty exciting. I like these big prime movers, and it's going to look really good with the 15 centimeter gun. And I can't remember, I figure out, here's the gas tank. So this will sit up on the, let's see if we can get it. But yeah, that kind of just sits something like that. So there's definitely a lot of stuff going on. And so I basically covered the model. I mean, I wish I could talk about it some more, but I think generally speaking, the complicated part of the build is over. And now it's really just a matter of fine-tuning and finishing it up. We got the Amps Nationals in about 3 or 4 weeks. I'd like to get this finished and bring it down, but you know, I don't like pushing racing with model building. For me, I don't like it. I'd rather have the quality than just building up a pile of models. I think in the long run it just makes me a better modeler, but I guess that's an opinion, and that's just my personal preference. So there it is. One question I have for the audience, so you guys, or people out there, these are the tires. They're very squishy. They're all hollow rubber. But I was wondering if people out there, because I know a lot of people have built Trumpeter and other newer model kits out there, but I'm used to just solid plastic. But what do people do with the painting process? Because I just feel like painting it and then sticking it on the rim, and just the way these tires, you know, they squish, will paint flake off or not? I don't know. Is there a process out there? So, you know, definitely I've seen Norm work with these, and I'm sure Andy and a whole bunch of other people. So if you got some tips and ideas, give me a shout out, and or write a commentary, or just contact me through some of the various places I exist on the internet. I'd love to hear from it. And one other thing too I discovered was, if I'm gonna have the vents open, I gotta make sure I fill these in. I don't know if we can barely see it, but yeah, there's some ejection pins. There's like 5. Have to make sure those are smoothed out. Well, that's it, fellas. I'm enjoying this group build. This is probably the first group build in a long time that I'm participating in, and I'm on schedule. I haven't been on this good of a timeline since 2013. So for me, this is a good sign in a lot of ways. So again, thanking Adam Mann for hosting this really exciting group build. I'm very excited with all the different entries that are popping up. So that's all, and hopefully I can have some paint on this by the end of April. Okay, take care guys. Model on, and I'll see you here again on YouTube. Goodbye.